Question. I'm recording it.
Okay, so my first question was in FileZilla. Should we should it says in the directions for assignment two we should put we should put assignment two in FileZilla, upload it to FileZilla. But
Uh-huh.
what about assignment one? We already did this a long time ago before FileZilla. Should we put
Yeah, the
update
idea,
this?
very good question. The idea was that all of your stuff will end up on FileZilla, each one in a separate folder. And so under your public underscore HTML folder, you should have a folder there for each of your assignments. It's just a matter of hopefully you haven't thrown them away and just grab those folders and upload them. And then in that exercise you're doing for, I think it's lab 6 or lab 5 maybe.
Five.
Lab 5. Yeah, you should also in your index.html file, you should have a h reference, a hyperlink that links to each one of your assignments. That was the idea, was that we could
Okay.
just sort of go to your page and there's all your assignments. Um,
Okay. Thank you for that. And
okay.
also, okay, if I uploaded these files a long time ago, it will all be available in my index because I'm clicking on
Yes.
my index now and I can see what I'm uploading now. So all the old ones they remain in there.
Yes, they'll stay there. We're not gonna purge it out or anything. So yeah, that'll all be there. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other question, or was just that?
For me, yeah, that was it. So all the
Okay.
assignments should go on FileZilla basically.
Yes, that's
That's
the idea. It's
okay.
for you and for us. It's for you so that you've got a record of it, but also, I mean, at the end we can see everything that you've sort of done. That's it's for you and for us, right? I mean, basic, yeah, it's public at that point. Um, Thanks, Bushra. That was a good question. Today I don't have new work for you because it was judged that the assignment that was given to you on Sunday was enough work for this week. Uh, Maybe a couple of you finished that. I don't know, but if you haven't, just to quickly refresh your mind, um, I'm going to show you the screens. But we had, and I hope you can see here. I got to move FileZilla. I sorry, not FileZilla. Zoom out of the way. But we have three related web pages that sort of form like a website, and yeah, so in the website itself, they kind of organized like that with an image directory, and then the three web pages, and there was some work that we had to do to make them look like this. And in particular, we had the body was styled a different color than the actual page. And that was done by setting a container and then changing the color of the container compared to the color of the body. And we did all that in CSS. So that was done there. The other things that we did, if we look at in the product detail, we set two columns, and we did that by adding divs. And so we had a div where we put the image, and we had a div where we put everything else, and then we set the width of those. And then in the last page, that was kind of tricky. We had this grid thing going on. The grid made up of a bunch of more or less not identical, but similar enough so that they could be styled the same. They were identical in size and in the way that we treated the text and the image. And so that was done by using classes, because with a class, we can do one lot of styling, which is applied to many different elements. So we got 6 elements here, all styled the same. And so how all of that was achieved is should let those people in the room, right? Um, Namra and Ivan. Welcome, Namra and Ivan. I shall mark you present later. Um, so how that was achieved, as I said, we've got some styling to do. We styled the body to get our background color of our gray. That applies to all 3 pages. So once you've done that once in the styling, you can do that for all of them. We set a container for all 3 pages so that we got a white background, and so that the container itself was only 800 pixels wide, and so it sat inside the body, and so we got this white on top of gray, and so that's achieved by these two things here. But of course, those will only work if you have a body and then a container inside the body, and that's what was done here. So the container actually is smaller than the body. That's achieved with that um, CSS here. I'm going through this quickly because I've been through it all before, right? So that was the contact support. That was about it for that, because all the other stuff was there from before. We just added this container so that we could have it sit on a different background. With the product details, um, we got two columns. So what we had to do there is we had to add two more divs, right? We had to add a div for the product photo, and we had to add a div for the product details. And then when we styled those, we had to notice that this thing here, it looks okay. We don't have three divs, we only have two. But in the product photo detail div, we style the image slightly different than we style the element in which it sits. So the image takes up 100% of the width of the element in which it sits. And so that fits that image in there. Yeah, so that's the thing that's happening in that one. Yeah, the 600 and the 200, right? Um, so the product photo, the photo was only 200 pics wide, and then the product details. Oh, I put it 60%. Sorry, it should be 600. I was playing around. 600 pics. Okay, that's if I went to the container and changed it to instead of being 800 pics, change it to be 80%, we could sort of, we could have a web page that changed its size as we changed the window size. Um, that's well, we could do that. Yeah, if I changed all, well, let's save this as it is first. Save it. And that's what we've got here, right? When we change the window size, what we notice is that the column widths don't really change. We just end up with sort of a truncated, one of the columns gets kind of lost inside the window. But if we wanted it to actually compress down, we could do that by changing everything from fixed width. So the idea of this lesson is that we learn about the idea of fixed width. We could have a variable width by just putting this as a percentage. If we changed everything to percentages, you might, I mean, it's just something to think about. So yeah, that's a percent already. Make this a percent, 20%. And have we got another one? Yeah, this one, make it 20%, 60%. If I save that, Control S, and then I relaunch this, then we've got a different kind of website, because do you see how it sort of, see how the image gets smaller and the column gets smaller? That's not fixed width. But what we're supposed to do in this exercise is actually have fixed width. And so, yeah, fixed width, 600 pixels is different than percent. I hope you sort of get that idea. So I'm just putting it back. But anyways, if you want to play around with fixed and and uh, and variable widths, you can do that. I like using the percent for variable widths in some circumstances, right? Where, because you don't know what size of window people are going to open up on their computer, right? They might have 10 windows going, right? And so by doing the percent, you can have something fill up the entire window. As opposed to now, if I put this as a fixed width, back to fixed width, right? Save that. And when I renew this, if I stretch this window out, uh, yeah, I mean, it's fixed. It's not going to change its size at all. If I put it back at percent, it would fill up that window. But I hope you can see this. Yeah. Anyways, but it's not. Yes, I am screen sharing. So that was the deal on that. Is we've got this body and we've got this page sitting on the body, and they're different. In the third one, And now where I need to try and find where's all my stuff, right? Yeah. The third one here, the product list. Yeah, that's the one where we have the classes, right? We set up these classes because we have six almost identical way of presenting things. And so we had to set up a class for product, and we had to set up a class for product image and a class for description. And the product image and description classes were inside the product class. And then they were styled to, they were styled with where they did we use fixed? No, we didn't. Um, we got a fixed width for the image and a fixed height, I think, for our yeah, product. There's a wood. I thought I saw a 258 somewhere else. Yeah, there it is. So we got the image has got a fixed height, and then the box in which the image sits has got a fixed width, and so that gives us our six almost identical ways of displaying images. And so that's what that's all about. I'm not going to sort of go over that too much more because I've given you that in another video. That's the thing that you have today. I want to also remind you students, and I put this onto our homepage, but I want to remind you that you do have a project that you're working on. You do have one of the assessment items is sort of coming up, um, uh, which is well, you have two, right, that you should have done, right? The first one was the description of what is your website, and I just and that was like 5 paragraphs, and then you're going to have 5 pages of text for all the things on your website. That was assessments 1 and 2 of the project, and then assessment 3 is coming up at the end of next week, I think. And assessment 3, sorry, part of your what did you call it? Project
Deliver,
deliverable 3.
deliver.
Yeah, project deliverable 3 is going to be, I think we call the wireframe. And if you're not sure about that, just Google it. But I think there's something in the project document that actually shows 2 examples of wireframes, one for a mobile phone page and one for a desktop computer page. And basically, it's just a bunch of boxes on the page showing where the different elements of your web page are going to be. So that's what you need to do by the end of next week. The other thing that's happening the next week is that we have a test. I know I'm going to have questions now. What's the test about? I haven't seen the test. I haven't talked with the other teachers about the test. There's like three or four teachers here doing this thing. So I have a feeling that the teacher who's doing we have a lead for every course, right? And so the teacher who's doing the lead, I think, is probably busy right now working on that test. She hasn't asked me to contribute to it yet, so I quite happy about that because I'm busy enough. But yeah, so as soon as I know, I will put something on D2L to say this is what the test is about, and okay. So one person I saw Ivan trying to get in. So where's that? Let's see if I can get him in.
I have another question.
Yeah,
Okay, in assignment, I think it's so many assignment. I think it's assignment two. Yeah, yeah, assignment two where we had to our, our assignment one, our web page is normal, no background, anything. Assignment two, it needs background, and then we needed to add links to all the previous labs 1 through 4. But the problem is, I had contact support in many labs, so I had to rename them, and it was messing up my screen. I
yeah.
couldn't access it. The link was not working because the HTML file I was
All right.
basically changing it.
All right. It concerns me that you say that, Bushra, because it sounds like maybe you're dumping all the files together in one folder. So
No,
I,
no.
you need to have a separate folder for each lab.
Yeah,
Lab 1 folder, lab 2 folder, lab 3 folder.
I'm
And
talking. Okay,
yeah.
continue.
So if you start like that, it might work out better. I mean, I can't see what you're doing. I don't really like this online learning. If we were in a class, we could sort of sort that out a bit easier. But basically,
Okay, you want
yeah,
me to share my screen?
why not? Yeah. Okay. So just wait a sec. I'm gonna pause.